Kevin Roberts, the president of the Heritage Foundation, the conservative think tank for a long time, since I think Nixon administration when it was originally created. It came out and or he came out, Kevin Roberts came out and said, basically that he defends Tucker. He will not dissociate his relationship with Tucker, and neither will his foundation. This is coming after Tucker Carlson invited Nick Fuentes and did a 2-hour show with Nick Fuentes. There's a lot to say here. Maybe without even further ado, maybe we should just go see the sort of video that Kevin Roberts gave out. Is I think just about over 2 minutes, and I split it into 4 clips that we can cover. So let's just look into that. Let's go. Clip number 1.
I'll have more to say on this in the coming days, but today I want to be clear about one thing. Christians can critique the state of Israel without being anti-Semitic. And of course, anti-Semitism should be condemned. My loyalty as a Christian and as an American is to Christ first and to America always. When it serves the interests of the United States to cooperate with Israel and other allies, we should do so, with partnerships on security, intelligence, and technology. But when it doesn't, conservatives should feel no obligation to reflexively support any foreign government, no matter how loud the pressure becomes from the globalist class or from their mouthpieces in Washington.
So this is how he started it, and I think this already tells you enough. So he starts it. What he said is basically like truism. Christians can critique the state of Israel without being anti-Semitic, and he goes into like further things that maybe if they are aligned, it's okay, but not always. And it's like nobody disagrees with that. That is not what the conversation is about with Tucker Carlson. And yeah, not to mention he mentioned the globalist class, which again I'm wondering who the Nick Fuentes type would say the globalist class is. Yeah, people in the chat are saying he means Jews, and yeah, that definitely does seem to be going in that direction. But generally, just notice the dishonesty, right? There is no ability, there is no attempt to actually clarify any issue. There's no attempt to like defend it properly, to explain their position. It's basically completely dishonestly characterize the other side, say like truism, like nobody's saying that anybody criticizing Israel is automatically anti-Semitic. But we are talking about Nick Fuentes, who is an anti-Semite, and we are talking about Tucker Carlson, who increasingly has, if you do not want to take the side that he is himself anti-Semitic, increasingly has more and more anti-Semites on his show, agrees with them, doesn't challenge any of them, and is happy to get them on again, and even views them as friendly. I mean, he had a I mean, he had Nick Fuentes on. He had the sort of the Nazi revisionist historian guy on, and you could go further. So again, yeah, just saying you don't like Israel is not anti-Semitic. But we are talking about somebody who does seem to be very much driven by that, or as somebody mentions also, Candace Owens, right? But yeah, let's watch the second clip.
The Heritage Foundation didn't become the intellectual backbone of the conservative movement by canceling our own people or policing the consciences of Christians. And we won't start doing that now. We don't take direction from comments on X, though we are grateful for the robust free speech debate. We also don't take direction from members or donors, though we are inherently grateful for their support. And we're adding more every day.
So just quick comment about the comments on X, right? It's not comments on X. It's big, even conservative influentials. It's now that this video came out, it's senators, congressmen coming out and saying, yeah, maybe we shouldn't, even many of the conservatives are coming out and saying, hey, maybe we shouldn't be actually friendly with Nick Fuentes, an actual anti-Semite, an actual neo-Nazi who is arguing for a white nationalist state, who is arguing for deportation of all non-white American citizens from America because his goal, as I said, is a white or ethno-nationalist state. He wants to have one race, the white people, which again, even defining as white people as one race is interesting and definitely wasn't sort of view of the earliest Nazis. But again, you're not even being serious. And the way he says it, right? We didn't become the backbone of conservative movement by canceling our people. Where does your people's like end? Later, he goes on to sort of denounce Nick Fuentes at the very least. But what about Tucker Carlson? Is he part of the right? Candace Owens, is she part of the right? Marjorie Taylor Greene, like these absolute conspiracies, this anti-American, like you couldn't get, well, you can get more anti-American, but when it comes to people on the right, you couldn't get more anti-American than these people. So what do you actually stand for when you say you defend those people? On their website, the Heritage Foundation, they have every day, the Heritage Foundation is building an America where freedom, opportunity, prosperity, and civil society flourish. Heritage mission is to formulate and promote conservative public policies based on the principles of free enterprise, limited government, individual freedom, traditional American values, and strong national defense. So, I mean, free enterprise, limited government, individual freedom, American values, national defense. American values and national defense or American values are sort of like those things that he said. It's interesting that they add them on top of that. But free enterprise, limited government, and individual freedom. Is that what Tucker Carlson stands for? Is that what Tucker Carlson ever stood for? When he was on Fox News, he agreed with Democratic Socialists of America. He said, well, I'm basically with you guys. These big companies, they are the threat to America. They are the enemy of America. Tucker Carlson is no capitalist. He's not for limited government. I mean, neither is the current administration, but we can leave that even completely separate. Um, so yeah, I mean, what do you actually stand for when all these people are your friends? Is the only thing you stand for that you are against the left? Which that's a you should be against the left. Left is problematic, but you actually need some values to put there instead of. You need to actually defend certain things. And you need to protect, even, or I think they should have protected, the conservative movement itself from certain people on the right, from certain people who, you know, who you wouldn't want to be part of your movement. I mean, generally, the right sees the left as like one monolith, basically. Everybody from sort of like moderate Democrats to the Squad or the Democratic or Mamdani or Democratic Socialists of America as like the one thing, as that they are all united. And your answer to that is to invite anti-Semites, conspiracists, anti-American, anti-trade, anti-individual liberty people to fight them? Is that your answer to collectivism or to tribalism? Is just tribalism on our side, collectivism on our side? Um, and I mean, I shouldn't even speak for Tucker Carlson because I have one of his clips. We already played this one, but I mean, let's listen to it again.
But
value
you
of our
should know,
society.
Seth, that the real danger is Sharia law. Sharia law. And you can tell when you go to a place like Abu Dhabi or Riyadh, like, oh man, I hope we don't ever wind up with a society like this with a rape rate of 0, where you leave your keys in your Lamborghini and don't ever worry about it being stolen. And, if people want to get wasted, they do it at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't.
Boy, I hope we don't wind up with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that, Sharia law is obviously just a punchline. I don't know that too many people actually believe in the reality of that. And I mean, sure, like I said, I'm a lawyer. I actually studied legal philosophy.
Right.
Sharia is not that different from other legal codes.
Okay, we don't have to play the rest of it, but this is the person you want to defend? Somebody who looks at Sharia law, the kind of system. Is Sharia law the system of free enterprise, limited government, and individual freedom? where half of the population don't even have freedom, and the other part doesn't either, but the half of it doesn't even have sort of even the basic ownership of itself, where women are owned by men, are sort of are in the system of guardianship, where every woman needs a male guardian. Is that a same system as the America has, as they've said? And again, Tucker doesn't disagree with. Tucker never disagrees with any people he has on. Um, and again, this is the person Kevin Roberts defends. He says, no, this is our ally. This is the ally of the conservative movement to fight the left, which again, left should be fought. And Heritage Foundation, I think, does some decent job, or did a lot of decent job in the past. But the more they go on, the more I less understand what they actually do want to stand for, what they do want to actually achieve with America. But let's play the next one.
This is the robust debate we invite with our colleagues, our movement friends, our members, and the American public. We will always defend truth. We will always defend America, and we will always defend our friends against the slander of bad actors who serve someone else's agenda. That includes Tucker Carlson, who remains, and as I have said before, always will be a close friend of the Heritage Foundation. The venomous coalition attacking him are sowing division. Their attempt to cancel him will fail. Most importantly, the American people expect us to be focusing on our political adversaries on the left, not attacking our friends on the right.
So again, he goes on like, our friends on the right. So he's saying Tucker Carlson is part of the right that he is defending. And again, yeah, your job shouldn't be to fight the left. Your job should be to put forward a certain view of America you want to see, hopefully close to the founding fathers' view of America, or at least what is set forth in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. And as part of it, yeah, you will fight the left because they stand against it. But trying to say as if, Republicans or the right, as of right now, stands for free enterprise, limited government, and individual freedom, you're lying to yourself. You're not seeing what is really happening. And to think that Tucker Carlson is somebody that would help you in those goals, that would actually help you build this kind of America that you say you stand for, again, you're completely lying to yourself. Bonnie says watching Kevin Roberts is like watching a brain on autopilot. Very sad. I mean, yeah, it's very almost like I don't know if corporate or lawyery way of answering is like he's not actually covering any of the criticism. Any criticism that is, he says, he doesn't say it explicitly, but he said no, this is basically just coming from the left or from the globalists. So we don't have to care about it. We can ignore it, and we will stand behind Tucker Carlson. We have a super chat from Bonnie. Thank you so much. And let's listen to the last part of it, which I think is the most damning.
I disagree with and even abhor things that Nick Fuentes says. But canceling him is not the answer either. When we disagree with a person's thoughts and opinions, we challenge those ideas in debate. And we have seen success in this approach as we continue to dismantle the vile ideas of the left. As my friend Vice President Vance said last night, what I am not okay with is any country coming before the interest of American citizens, and it is important for all of us, assuming we are American citizens, to put the interest of our own country first. That's where our allegiance lies, and that's where it will stay.
So he starts with sort of denouncing Nick Fuentes, but look at the way he says it, right? We abhor things he says. It's not about just things he says. It's policies he supports. He supports deportation of Americans, of almost like 40% of Americans that are non-white, American citizens. American citizen. supporting the deportation of American citizens over the color of their skin. That's the person you disagree with what he says. And when he says, when we disagree, we challenge them, which I would agree to some extent. We had people that we, disagreed with on the channel in the past, but we didn't agree with them. We debated them. We didn't invite socialists. I think we had a couple on the show. We didn't invite socialists and then agree with everything they say. We vehemently disagreed with everything they said. We tried to say why they're wrong, why our values are different. What did Tucker Carlson disagree with on Nick Fuentes? When Nick Fuentes says he loves Stalin and he celebrates his birthday, Tucker says, "Oh, interesting," or something along that lines, and said, "Oh, we'll get back to it," and then he never got back to it. He couldn't even say, "Well, I disagree with that." It just is interesting. I mean, you can watch the whole 2 hours they did together. Tucker Carlson didn't disagree with pretty much anything Nick Fuentes said. So, what is the difference between Tucker Carlson? What is the difference between a neo-Nazi and somebody who invites him on the show and uh, doesn't say anything, doesn't stand up to it, doesn't try to separate itself from it, like doesn't try to do anything about it. Um, like besides that he either supports it or thinks this should also be part of the right. How long until Nick Fuentes becomes part of the right, becomes the person that is viewed as no, we have to defend this guy against the people from the left. We have to ally with this guy. I mean, even if you believe that Tucker Carlson stands for American values, thinking that Nick Fuentes stands for any kind of American values. We did a show on him a bit ago. Nick Fuentes is somebody who supports theocracy to be installed in America. He wants to get rid of the the Republican system that is set up. He doesn't like the Constitution. He doesn't like the founding fathers. He doesn't like anything about America that is American. Um, and he ended. Kevin Roberts ended with a quote from G.D. Vance, who talks about the interest of our country first. And we're talking about the Vice President of the United States. What is that? What America stands for? Is we have, or Americans should have this national look for the national interest. They should fight for America, not as an extension of itself, as in I'm an or they are an American citizen. They fight for American values by living in America, by supporting American values. But America as separate from its citizens. I mean, I read the Declaration of Independence here and there. It says, "We hold this truth to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." Where does it talk about national interest of America that has to be fought for? No, it's individualistic. It's, I mean, both the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence talk about mainly of the individual and how the purpose of government should be to support to not support that individual, to set up the kind of system that allows that individual to flourish. And now we talk about national interest. Um, Now we talk about, allying ourselves with Tucker Carlson to fight the left. Which I always want, like, I don't want to put down the fighting the left, and that's what's annoying about conservatives and Republicans. It's they are not offering an alternative. They are oftentimes, or almost always, marginally better. But marginally better doesn't save America. Founding fathers were not marginally better from King George. They were setting up a new kind of system that is here for just 250 years almost. And yeah, this is the kind of thing conservatives have to offer. Um, It is very unfortunate. And I mean, we can watch one more clip from Tucker Carlson of this is from 2024. I think February. Yeah, so let's watch this one.
What was radicalizing, very shocking and very disturbing for me was the city of Moscow, where I'd never been, the biggest city in Europe, 13 million people. And it is so much nicer than any city in my country. I had no idea. My father spent a lot of time there in the 80s when he worked for the US government and barely had electricity. And now it is so much cleaner and safer and prettier aesthetically. Its architecture, its food, its service, than any country, city in the United States that you have to, and this is non-ideological. How did that happen? How did that happen? And at a certain point, I don't think the average person cares as much about abstractions as about the concrete reality of his life. And if you can't use your subway, for example, as many people are afraid to in New York City because it's too dangerous, you have to sort of wonder, like, isn't that the ultimate measure of leadership? And that's true, by the way, it's radicalizing for an American to go to Moscow, I didn't know that, I've learned it this week, to Singapore, to Tokyo, to Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Because these cities, no matter how we're told they're run and on what principles they're run, are wonderful places to live that don't have rampant inflation, where you're not going to get raped.
Sir,
excuse
me.
What is that?
Excuse me.
So again, this is the way this person, Tucker Carlson, talks about American freedom. It's an abstraction. You know, it's something somewhere. We don't really understand it. What matters are the concretes. What matters are, you know, the things on the ground, the things I can see, the things I can smell, the things I see. And you know, I don't want to like completely whitewash the current state of America. There are problems, but to try to compare it with those states, with Russia, I mean, Tucker Carlson is somebody who did an interview with Putin, which again, you can, especially as a journalist, you can do an interview with people, even dictators, but not the way that you agree with everything they say. Not the way that it basically, you don't challenge them on anything. It just becomes just becomes like a stunt for the dictator to basically say anything they want. Similar with I cannot remember the foreign minister of Russia. I think Sergey. Somebody can remind me of his last name. But yeah, this is yeah, Deborah says it wasn't an interview, it was ball washing. I mean, absolutely. It's like he let him do like speeches, say whatever he wants. When he asked questions, Putin went to like 9th century to justify the invasion of Ukraine today. And you know, the way he talks about it, Sergei Lavrov, thank you so much, the Russian foreign minister, and he said like the wonderful places to live. Those are nice places to visit. You don't want to live in Russia. To a large extent, you don't want to live in Singapore, Japan, or the United Arab Emirates as compared to America. I think in many places, when it comes to actual liberty, when it comes to actually, you know, something wrong happening and receiving justice for what happened, when it comes to actually being free. I mean, again, Heritage Foundation, what is the place on Russia on the Heritage Freedom Index is 135th. There's about 200 nations in the world. Russia is right between Cameroon and Tajikistan. United States is also falling, unfortunately, but even on the Freedom Index is on 26th. So about more than 110 places ahead. And you are comparing those two nations as not only as they are similar, but Tucker Carlson saying that Russia is better or Moscow is better. Of course, he wouldn't spend any time outside of Moscow or outside of central Moscow. He wouldn't go into villages and cities. He wouldn't go into where majority of people actually live. You know, he talked about like inflation. Do you know what is the inflation in Russia? It's like 8%, and that's low for Russia. And that's with interest rate of 16%. 16% interest rate, and you still have inflation of 8%. I mean, anybody who understands basic economics sees how big of a problem it is. If you want to get a mortgage in Russia, do you know what is the mortgage rate? This is like a basic rate. 16% is the basic rate. Do you know how much would you get a mortgage for? 20 to 30%. You get a credit card interest rate on a mortgage in Russia. And you don't even have to go, I mean, you could go into the fact of how low wages there are, the fact that you might get conscripted into a war, into going invading a foreign nation, something especially Tucker goes on and on about Iraq, but apparently has no problem with Russia conscripting its people into the war. And again, talking about like how nice of a city is. When people don't live anywhere, and when you have a complete totalitarian, well, authoritarian control over the nation, yeah, you can make a nice city. Go to, I think it's Ashgabat. Yeah, go to Ashgabat, the capital of Turkmenistan, one of the biggest dictatorships in the world, on par with North Korea. It's a marble city. It looks nice, but nobody lives there because that's not what dictatorships are about. They are not for living. They are for, yeah, it's a nice place to go and visit. Because when you don't actually have to use anything, when people don't actually have to do things, then yeah. And when you have authoritarian control or totalitarian in case of Turkmenistan, yeah, it's you can do nice things. America, I mean, just look at the White House renovation, right? The ballroom Trump is doing. Every single president could have done that at any point. But there was an understanding of this is a waste of money because it's not for the government to like build nice halls, or it shouldn't have been. Unfortunately, many times it did. But it wasn't supposed to be because it was understood that it's for individuals to do if they want. And understanding that these are taxpayer money that shouldn't be wasted, that the goal of government spending shouldn't be about, you know, building nice statues or building nice buildings. But unfortunately, that was sort of defaulted on pretty soon. But even then, it was understood for a long time. So Tucker Carlson doesn't. Well, Tucker Carlson maybe he understands what America stands for, and he is against it. Nick Fuentes understands what America is standing for, and he is against it. Those two people agree. Heritage Foundation should understand what America stands for, and either is willingly defaulting on it in the sake of fighting the left, or they do not care for preserving America or returning America back to its roots. I think it's only, and it comes from the conservative philosophy, right? Because they do not actually have any values. It's to a large extent only objectivism that can offer secular, this worldly values for the life of the for the life on this earth, and it's the only philosophy that can actually defend the state of America, the nation of America. So hopefully, and I think somebody earlier said also about sort of the free speech aspects of it, and I've seen some of it of like talking about free speech, and the fact is, the idea that you can say free speech and that means nobody can criticize you, that nobody can discuss your choice of guests, the way you engage with those guests, the way you basically agree with a neo-Nazi. And again, this is something I've also seen, like, you know, calling people Nazis. Yeah, calling people Nazis is bad, unless they are actual Nazis. Then it's, you know, the thing you call them. Calling presidents authoritarian is bad, unless they do actually have authoritarian tendencies, unless they do actually try to grab power. I would assume Heritage Foundation wouldn't have a problem with calling FDR authoritarian, or at least statist, trying to, you know, grab more value, grab more power for the state, since they are for limited government. Yet, calling somebody who's a Nazi, you know, if it quacks like a Nazi, if it goose steps like a Nazi, yeah, maybe it's a Nazi, and you should call it for what it is. And even if you do invite them to your show, maybe you should actually go against what they stand for, so people don't confuse that Tucker Carlson is actually for the Nazi values Nick Fuentes stands for. But this is the unfortunate state of America and the world today, right? It's not like America is the only place that is becoming worse or becoming bad. Nobody defends Western values. I don't have much positive to say today. It's an unfortunate state to see. Although, well, there is something positive. The fact is, when this happened, and even I think Nick Fuentes still seems to be sort of alien of the right. When people might not remember this, but there was a dinner in Mar-a-Lago at Trump's place with Kanye West, with Ye, and Kanye West during that time had actually Nick Fuentes was his sort of support, his advisor for his presidential campaign. I mean, Kanye West presidential campaign. That was like a thing for a few months, maybe. So that was happening, and Trump basically said, "Oh, I didn't know who Nick Fuentes was. I didn't know he's coming. I didn't invite him. I'm like pushing him away." And even now, it seems like many senators and congressmen and people on the right are sort of like questioning the Heritage Foundation. Like, what are you doing? You're like defending, aligning ourselves with neo-Nazis. So there is at least some positive still on the right, or at least they are not full on aligning themselves with neo-Nazis. So maybe that's the little positive I can get out of today. But with that, I think we've covered what I wanted. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow with another episode of the Daily Objective and the Reality Show. And of course, people should sign up for the ARCUK mailing list, link in the chat, since this is the best way to get any news about Ayn Rand Center UK, or specifically the Irreplaceable Spark Conference the next year that will happen. I believe tickets should be coming in the next days, and there will be discounts. I think there might be even some short discounts when it's launched. So the signing up for the mailing list is the best and quickest way to find out about anything that happens, although we usually also announce it on the shows. Well, with that, thank you everybody for joining me today. And as I said, we'll see each other tomorrow. Until then, bye bye.